ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ, ਜੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿਵਿਕ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਔਰ 20 ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਣੀ ਹੈ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਨ ਆਫ ਦੀ ਮੇਅਰਲ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਟਿਮ ਕਾਰਟਮਲ ਐਂਡ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੈੱਡ ਆਫਿਸ 'ਚ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਹਾਂ। ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਲੇਟਫਾਰਮ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜੋ ਕੈਂਪੇਨ ਲਾਂਚ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ। ਸੋ ਕਾਫੀ ਸਰਗਰਮੀਆਂ ਵੱਧ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਲੈਟ ਮੀ ਇੰਟਰੋਡਿਊਸ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਕਾਰਟਮਲ. He is the one of the mayoral candidate for upcoming civic election. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you for taking some time out this morning. And can you give us the overview for your platform? What are the important issues for you for Edmonton?
Sure. Our platform has three main themes: safety and security,
Yes.
Tougher on taxes, and building it better. So safety and security in all parts of the city, so that
Yes.
people are comfortable in our open spaces, on transit platforms, on LRT stations,
Yes.
that they feel safe and that they feel their children will be safe in these places. Tougher on taxes, in that we stop the continual high property tax increases year
Definitely.
over year. I feel that the city of Edmonton is already taking enough money out of the economy, and that we should be able to manage the city within the money we already take without
Definitely.
increases.
Definitely.
And building it better. Depending on what part of the city you're in, you're seeing effectively construction chaos. It's
Yes.
very hard to move around our city. There's no coordinated plan. It seems that everything is under construction. You've come downtown today, which I'm sure had its challenges.
100%.
We need a much better coordinated plan, which will also save us money and increase productivity.
I was here last time. You had a press release that you are lowering the units in the infill project. Now the numbers of
Yeah.
unit people can build. So that 15-minute city which was talked about. So we are dropping that idea with that lowering the number.
Well, these are different ideas, know. So the 15-minute community and 15-minute city has some negative aspects attached to it. So I firmly believe in complete communities. So the community I live in Radigan Ridge, I'm very close to recreation, to the
Yes.
river valley, to the ravine. There's medical services very close by. There's several schools. There's the Terwilliger Rec Center. You can find whatever you need in that community. But that doesn't mean that you're restricted to that community, or that you can't leave that community. It simply means that if you have everything you need close at hand. And I think that every community should have that opportunity, that everything that they need for their family, for their education, their entertainment, their employment, their recreation, is all found relatively close. But that also means that you have the freedom to move around. So if you want to go to a different part of the city to visit a particular restaurant, or if you're going to get a education in your own language in another part of the city, you're free to do that. So the idea of restricting people to communities, absolutely not ever. That's nonsense, quite frankly. But the concept of everything is close to home, I think that that's a laudable goal.
Definitely. And the city, sometime people wonder, like how they are coming up with all those plans, and, many times blow up on their face. Why we are lacking here? You were inside of that city council, but we are lacking are we not consulting enough people, or people not come out to consultation in the beginning? What is the issues here?
I think that what we're suffering from is a lack of leadership. We cannot do everything for everyone every time, all the time. That's where you get massive inefficiency. That's where you get overspending. That's where you get property tax increases because of the overspending. We need leadership that establishes priorities. And so that's what I hope to bring as the next mayor, is that
Definitely.
we pick the things that are most important. We finish the things that we've already started, first of all. And then we prioritize those investments that are going to serve the most people most of the time. And when we've taken care of those things, then we can look to the more fanciful things that people might want.
Definitely.
But what we're lacking right now is leadership and priority. which means we got, a city council and then a city administration that's going off in all directions at once. And that's why it seems so chaotic.
Definitely. So Edmonton is investing on public transit, hugely they're investing. But how we can make public transit safer so people can start using it without any fear?
Well, first of all, I would say that investment, there's a lot of investment, but it's not wise investment. So if you happen to live next to an LRT station or along an LRT line, well, congratulations, you've got Cadillac service to get downtown or to the university. If you don't, particularly in the ward I currently represent, if you live south of the Henday, if you live in those newer neighborhoods, there's no transit service at all.
Yes.
So you come from another place, you come from somewhere else in Canada or around the world, and the first thing you need to do is buy a car, right? It's terrible. So we need to make much wiser investments in our transit service so that it serves everybody, not just a select few. But that said, to make it safer, what we need and what we know works is a greater presence of people of authority in those places. And that doesn't mean that we're going to persecute or humiliate or arrest or fine people, without any thought. What it does mean, though, is, and we know this because it's happened, is that when there's a greater visible presence of transit peace officers, bylaw officers, police service officers, that there's a reminder and a deterrent effect that people need to behave. And then when we find people that are having trouble meeting that expectation, then we have the people at hand immediately to bring the resources we need. We might need an ambulance. We might need a healthcare worker, a drug addictions counselor, a mental health professional. But the authority that is the police service and the bylaw officers are the ones that are our first response as a community to identify there's an issue and see that issue solved. So if we have more presence, we get better and faster reactions, and we also get the deterrent effect of people present in that space.
This morning I read in news how staggering the numbers are for the drug overdose in Edmonton. We are leading the province. And we are like 5 times more than Calgary. What is the reason? What we are missing here in the city?
Well, quite frankly, I think it's that we don't have authority, people, police officers, peace officers in place to react much more quickly. One of our interim police chiefs was on the radio a couple of weeks ago and saying that they need to intervene much more quickly because the drugs that are being consumed are much more addictive, much more harmful. And so by preventing people from consuming these drugs, we're actually saving their life. We're not being, top down or draconian or authoritative or mean or any of those things. We're trying to save some people from themselves so that they don't consume this very poisonous material, this very addictive material. I think the statistic I heard was that in 2024 we had 675 unintended deaths from drug use in Edmonton. That is an astonishing number.
It is.
And the ethic at City Council for 12 years has been to let people decide when they want to get help and go and seek it. But when you're relying on people that don't have the capacity to care for themselves, well, that seems disingenuous to me. So at some point, as a compassionate government, as a compassionate community, we need to intervene and help people much more quickly. So that they can get back to that place of fulfillment and contentment and self-determination and self-reliability that they're just not achieving if we just leave them to wallow in our public spaces.
Definitely.
Something must change here.
Edmonton is, I don't know, it's lacking a vision or what is going on. We have so much burden for the residential growth or the population growth in Edmonton. All the major projects, even Amazon, let's say, they have one warehouse to the south and one to the west. why we are losing that major investment in the city?
Primarily from an operating cost perspective for those buildings, which is a big part of that is property taxes.
Okay.
So taxes are so much higher in the city of Edmonton that those big corporations and frankly even smaller corporations are moving to the surrounding communities where the taxes are so much lower. So we came out with a plan about a few weeks ago where we're effectively saying that if you own a piece of property in Edmonton, we will freeze your taxes at that level, even if you make improvements that increase the value of that property.
Okay.
So come and build your building, come and employ your people, bring your business to Edmonton. We will freeze your taxes for several years so that you don't get an immediate increase as soon as you come here. And that should enable you to get established, get your business up and running, get your costs under control, and then, several years down the road, we can begin to talk about, a modest increase in property taxes. But we need to find ways to attract those businesses back to the city of Edmonton. If we continue this spiral where, and frankly, it's not just, industrial and commercial, but even some people that don't like what's happening to their neighborhood, they're moving their homes to outside communities.
For sure.
We have to stop that trend.
There is a few developments, especially where I'm at southwest Edmonton, and even Windermere. That's a beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah.
But development is not planned properly. You can see that there's so much bottleneck in the evening and the morning, and roads are not wide enough. Why we are doing that? What is the reason behind it?
Well, in those new neighborhoods, developers are responsible for building the arterial roads. And so they build the first 2 lanes immediately, and then they build the following 2 lanes effectively when traffic volumes get high enough. The problem is that that's a lagging indicator. So effectively the way the system works is we wait for the road to get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And then the developers are required to build the next 2 lanes or widen the road, but that takes a couple more years to achieve.
100%.
What we need to do is back that threshold up and have our developer partners build those lanes earlier. Now that's on new developments, places south of the Henday, the new neighborhoods at the edges of the city. There are a number of roads that the city is responsible for that need increased capacity. So for instance, 91st Street. If you look at the roads that are really working, St. Albert Trail, 97th Street, Fort Road, Sherwood Park Freeway, and now Terwilliger Drive, those roads have 3 traffic lanes on them. The roads that don't work have 2. So there's a couple of pinch points, one of which would be 91st Street. Parsons Road fits in that category. 50th Street, when you get to the southern edge of the city, and even arguably Sherwood Park Freeway. All of those roads need an additional lane, and then we'll have the capacity that we need for a growing city. And some say that we shouldn't do that we should just rely on transit and effectively push people to transit. But we don't have a transit system that can serve those people. And even if we wanted to add more buses, we can't because we don't have any garages to add those buses for. So it's going to be a decade at least before we have the transit service that we need. And then when we have the transit service we need, you know what they're going to need? Roads. So let's get busy, get back to building the roads that we actually need in this city that serve not just cars, but buses, transport trucks, and everybody else is trying to move around this place.
I think the biggest issue is with delaying all the projects.
Yeah.
The Valley Line LRT, when it is planned and finally when it's built, Millwards were already overgrown from that need, and those are the issues. Thank you very much for your time. Any message you have for our audience in the end?
Well, there's I would leave you with this, that you have a choice in the next election. I'm running for mayor. There's several other people that are running for mayor. My credentials include having developed my own business. I operated my own business for 30 years. I'm a consulting engineer. I've built a living on managing other people's money, managing other people's project, and doing that very effectively. And I've been on council for 8 years, so I know how the city works too. And that combination of skills and experience is what we need for the next 4 years.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Cartmell, and all the best for your campaign.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time as well.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate